as we discuss another haunted location. Today we're going to be talking about Rohs Opera House located in Cynthiana, Kentucky. I'm Mountain Mama of Mountain Mama Investigations, a Appalachian high strangeness and paranormal research team who is dedicated to the preservation of historical locations through paranormal research. As I said, we're going to be discussing Rohs Opera House, and we have created some videos before to kind of break down the history, any kind of tragic events, or also proclaimed experiences within Rohs Opera House. So to catch you up to speed, just go on back, watch those short videos, and today we're going to be covering our experience with investigating Rohs Opera House. One thing that I will say about Rohs Opera House, first off, is that it is very physically active. And what I mean by this is when you are upstairs, you will hear footsteps downstairs. You're downstairs, you have to go upstairs because you hear those footsteps. It's very much like a game of cat and mouse. Not that I feel it in any kind of a malicious way, just that there's a lot of movement. And this is actually one of the claims within the building also. So today we're going to be actually going over what it is that we found in some of our evidence. I got my trusty notebook here to cover with you. So one thing that the owner actually told us was that it's bad luck to whistle in a theater. Now, one of our team members forgot this for a split second, but we nipped it and made sure not to do any kind of whistling. That's what was so strange whenever we had this electronic voice phenomenon of whistle. And this is when we were walking from one portion of the building to another. Take a listen.
Keep going back.
Pretty creepy, right? But yet a very good whistler. Moving on to our next piece of evidence, we experienced some type of electric hum that would have been down towards more close to the stage, if I remember correctly. And this hum almost sounds like something in an old sci-fi film, like some ETs are coming down in a spaceship to me, or at the same time, being a child of someone who was a sound engineer, almost like feedback. Now, I'm not really sure, given the history and time period of this building, what some of the old equipment might have sounded like with feedback. So check this one out. Let us know what you think. Moving on a bit further here, we decided to do a knock test. So what this involves is maybe finding an area that you know is to be active or maybe discussed a bit more, showing some knocking on a wall and just asking a spirit or entity to respond in that way. Now, this knock was not audible to us until we actually listened back to the EVP evidence. The location of this was between the old portion, which is Aeolian, however you choose to pronounce it, the hallway that leads from the old part to the new part when it became Rohs Opera House.
Knock for us. If there is anybody here.
I bet you heard that right at the end. Now, we had a situation where we were sitting in the segregated section of the Opera House. It's up top. If you're facing it, it's on the right. Or if you come through the doors, you'll go towards your left. So there's an area up in there that was the segregated section. This is when a video comes into play that you may have seen on some of our social media, where one of our team members actually has something blow in his face during an Estes method. So he rips off the headphones. You'll see me jump even because he's jumped. And that is what is happening here. And we'll go ahead and insert the video in case you didn't get to see it.
Yeah, any kind of jostling could be a real big...
It causes like an altered...
Yeah. Are you okay, Sean? What happened? What just happened? Something blew in my face. Like,
Or was that DJ going by?
no, I was over there. I went. I did my best to stay away from him so I didn't startle him. Are you okay, buddy?
Whew.
Now, the reason I wanted you to actually see that video was the lead into another EVP that we experienced. So we were sitting back up in that balcony section, not in the exact spot, but down from it where there is some more seating. And that's whenever our team member jokingly says, "Hey, whoever blew in my face, you got me good." And it's very quick, very precise, and very polite. But listen to this thank you.
Whoever blew in my face, you got me good.
Now, the last piece of electronic voice phenomena, because that is the majority of what we actually got in our evidence for Rohs Opera House. Less apparition, except for seeing with your own eye. You can see shadow movements and things in that way. But more, it seemed to be responses with these EVPs back on recordings. So this one is harder to hear. It is not the EVP of a decade or something in that way. And I actually contacted other investigators to take a listen. And I was explaining a piece of equipment, just letting them know that this was not meant to harm them in any way and that they could step close so that way I could hear them. And I was down by the stage in the bottom level of the opera house. And that's when we experienced this electronic voice phenomena that actually says, "Listen," there's a pause. That's amazing. Now, usually I like for you to be able to hear it and make your own assumption. But like I said, this one is hard to hear. You may even have to put headphones on. But go ahead and tell me what you think.
It'll help us hear you better.
So that is actually all of the EVP that we caught within Rohs Opera House. Some other things to note that we experienced in the building were doors closing by themselves. We had to go through and test each door because where they are older doors, they kind of have some specific sounds to them. So we were able to find out that one of the doors that closed that made a really tinny sound was actually going into that new part from the old part. So it's right as you go into the balcony area up top near that segregated section. We also did experience seeing like some shadow people or humanoid shadow figures in front of the stage down towards the left, especially near that exit area, which I know has been reported before. And there was also a situation during one of our Estes methods where the name Lottie or Loretta came through. Which was really interesting since there have been others also to experience that name. Now, unfortunately, in my research, I haven't come across any kind of a Loretta or Lottie. The Cynthiana Historical Society also didn't have any record of the name. But as we get into those previous history videos, you'll see that I've dug as much as we possibly could into the history of the location. And I'm sure this is a place that we will continue to go back to because it just has so much mystery within it. I thank you so much for joining me in this video, going over this evidence. I hope that you enjoy it. If you would like to support us in this endeavor and this passion project, I will include a link tree below where you can access our other forms of social media. If you feel so obliged, no pressure at all, there is a link if you would like to donate to the cause, as our continued goal is to go into these historical locations and to add that extra layer of mystery into what's already amazing about these places. There are so many amazing people who have taken the time and the money to purchase these locations, to keep them open. And it is our goal for you to come visit those, experience them yourself. Go to Rohs Opera House if you ever have the opportunity for one of those movies, and you might even get a little more than you bargained for down there at the stage. If you have an opportunity to go out and investigate it, Definitely do so because we want future generations to be able to enjoy these locations. So we appreciate you. We thank you. And we'll see you soon.